I would really live to see 50th anniversary. But now to the young ones, thank you very much to be part and parcel of this occasion. I still put my finger on you. If you believe in yourselves, you can change the whole world. You know, we are aging, so we need young blood, fresh minds, fresh ideas. So I'm still putting my finger on you. Yes, the day of the 16th of June, it was the saddest day in my life up to date. But things changed. Now I feel different. We need to move forward with responsibility. That is very, very important to us, to me, or to us. No, yes, you are a generation that can really, really make it happen. So I believe in you. Please make sure you do your best. I can't talk much because my story is too long, but because of time frame, I have to limit whatever I'm talking about. So we are remembering all those who have fallen in a good spirit. We know that this is a milestone. We at some point fall and trip, and as soon as we stand up and dusting ourselves, it's like, hey, what happened? We are still there. It's going to take us a very, very long time to reach our goals completely. So don't forget, all that blood that was shed was for you as the youngsters today to get a better life, a better education. So we will walk with you all the way through as long as we are alive. Don't forget that you are the future, are tomorrow's leader. Thank you very much.
I feel like crying because I feel like we have denied her chance to share the story, but I guess next time we'll be able to hear what really happened. And I know that there's a say that says nothing about us without us. So I hope that the little that she has shared with us will take it home and start taking responsibilities about our future. So I'll move to the next presenter, which is the NYDA. I know that we've been waiting for them to hear what they have for us, and I believe that during the discussion session, they'll be able to respond to some of the issues that you have raised. I'm going to call Mr. Nyende. You only have 10 minutes. Oh, Miss. Yo, doctor. Can we clap hands for him? Thank you.
Sorry for that. Not a problem at all. Good afternoon, everyone. I know all of you were expecting the NYDA to be present. And Speaker, I want to say to you, the NYDA has been here since morning. It's only the executive chairperson that only arrived late, but that apology was rendered earlier on, or even, I think on Saturday, the apology was rendered because this morning we needed to go and employ over 3,000 young people that are going to enter our Young Creatives program that we're doing in partnership with Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Because this year we've said it's the year of the youth. We want less stories and less speeches, but more action. So one needed to go and action first and come speak here in the afternoon. My sincere apologies about that. But the NYDA table and the stall has been outside since morning, so young people that needed information pertaining to the NYDA, they are still available and they've been available since morning. Let me start by greeting yourself, Program Director, the Honorable Speaker and the presiding officers, all the honorable members and members of the provincial legislature, members of women and youth and persons with disability from my portfolio community. I can see my whip is present, the leaders of SAIC, the president of SAWUS, all leaders from youth, all youth political formation present today, distinguished guests, fellow South Africans. Above all, I want to say good afternoon to all young people. I want us to first start by understanding where do we find ourselves as young people in South Africa. So there's a strong correlation between the economic growth of the country and the rate of employment in the country. What is quite fascinating with that particular research that was done by the University of Pretoria is that even if in instances where we get a report that the economy of the country has grown, still young people, the rate of youth unemployment remains low. Those that are doing economics will know where I'm going with this. Which means that the challenge that we're dealing with goes beyond what has been presented or what is before us. But another factor is that as young people, we're not a homogeneous group. We're heterogeneous in our nature. Therefore, our needs are never going to be same at all material times. That is why when we speak in such platforms, it's important for us to be able to tailor or be able to have programs that speak to different sectors of young people in their different areas. What is also important is for us to understand what is the role of the NYDA. Many a times people come to the NYDA and say, NYDA is not creating jobs, NYDA, no. And I sometimes feel like as if the NYDA has been made a scapegoat of a lot of people. But the role of the NYDA is stipulated in the Act, is to lobby, to advocate, and coordinate youth development. So our role is simple that. That's what we are there to do. We don't create jobs. But the one of creation of jobs, I think it's a conversation that we need to have in another time of how do we then link the growth of the economy and the rate of employment, and where do we find ourselves as young people in that particular space. But also what is profound this year is the fact that we declared this year as the year of the youth. One of the things that are challenges at all material times that I was thinking that in the conversation earlier young people were going to reflect on is the discrepancy between opportunities and where we are as young people. And that's where then the NYDA comes in. Many a times, many government departments, they come and present or they say to us, they have done this for young people. They have nice APPs that they go and present to Parliament and say they've done this for us. One of the things that when we got appointed, we only got appointed last year, we said we need to have what we call youth responsive budgeting, monitoring and evaluation framework, which is going to be a framework for the first time in its nature being introduced. Currently, what the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disability has, as well as working with DPME, is a gender-responsive budgeting, monitoring and evaluation. And we saw that it's prudent for us as young people of this country to have a framework that is going to monitor youth development in the country, so that people don't come to us as young people and say they're doing 1 and 2 and 3 when they're not doing that for us. Even the impact is not being felt on the ground. I think there's one young lady that stood up and said the impact is not being felt on the ground. But one of the things that the government department says, it happens over time. Money is sent back to National Treasury. I think there was a gentleman that spoke over here on the reform when it comes to National Treasury and the Reserve Bank. And I think it's a conversation that is quite important for us to be able to have. National Treasury must hold accountable departments that send money back that is responsible or that is set aside to address our issues as young people. And I think it's something that we should champion at all material times. But also municipalities where we reside, we must be able to hold our councillors, our municipalities, our mayor. What is it that they're doing for us as young people? There are government departments, premiers in this country that are refusing to have youth directorates. There are government premiers in this country that are refusing to set aside a budget for us as young people. Some of them, when they're having the youth directorate, they regard them as a desk, something that they don't take serious. What is it that we're saying about those things? And that's where the NYDA comes in, and that is why we have put in place a framework that is going to hold them accountable for those particular things. And we're also requesting the president and the KPIs of premiers, they must have a clear KPA of them reporting on youth development in their respective provinces. And then that must cascade down to regions, to municipalities and end. Sometimes it's important for us as young people, when given an opportunity, not to come here and speak about BGMs. I think we must be able to speak about the real issues that we are faced with on the ground. What is it that the NYDA does? The NYDA has our voucher program, which is our most popular program, where we give young people money, which is not a loan, it's a grant, from the amount of 1,000 to 250,000. There's one young man that stood up and said, NYDA arrives late, they even arrive late when it comes to service delivery. And I want to present to you today that ever since our appointment last year, we've been able to assist young people in their businesses. 1,300 businesses of young people have been assisted through the NYDA. And that amounts to about 28 million that we've given out to young people. And this 28 million has gone into rural areas. Because one of the things that we've been intentional about ever since our appointment is to say that we're going to go to rural areas, we're going to go to townships. Because we believe that the time for NYDA to exist only in Sentin and Econs is over and done. We must be found where young people are found. And that's what we have done since we got appointed. And our focus area has been on agriculture, in the mining space, as well as in the digital and the innovation space. That's what we have done. But I think my whip and my portfolio committee, I think at some point, we must have a state of the youth address where the NYDA is going to account to young people in the country. What is it that they have done? Because many a times we only meet now during June 16 Youth Parliament, and we're given 10 minutes to account on what is it that we have done for you. Well, there's a lot that we have done. Even tomorrow, program director, the first 10,000 young people that are going to be in Soweto, they're going to receive a SIM card that has been supported and supported through the NYDA. What the SIM card has, it has a free data. So this is going to allow young people to apply for funding, for job opportunities, and those that are doing their matric, they're going to get study guides. Those that they're going to be getting them at a zero-rated approach. Because one of the challenges that I thought some of you were going to speak about is how expensive data in South Africa is. You can't, even if you buy 1 gigabyte, by afternoon that 1 gigabyte is over and done with. So it then hinders us in terms of participating equally or at the same rate as those that can afford. It can't be correct that young people must choose between buying bread or buying data. Data is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity that we think that government must be able to provide for free. However, tomorrow, at the NYT, at the June 16 commemoration, the first 10,000 young people that are going to be there are going to get this particular SIM card. It has a 10 rand free airtime, and then thereafter, you're going to apply for a job, for a bursary, and every other learning, earning, and living opportunities for free. You're never going to need to buy data for that. The only thing that you're going to buy data is for Instagram, because Instagram is not a necessity. It's a luxury. So for those particular things, that's what you're going to get. But over and above that, some of you would have had the 100,000 paid opportunities that the NYDA is currently rolling out, as supported by the President through the 1.3 billion. The 1.3 billion has been set aside to assist young people that do voluntary work or any paid work so that they get experience. Because one of the challenges that we are facing as young people is when we're applying for job opportunities, we're being told of experience. And over time, we've requested and shouted over the scrapping of any work experience that is needed. But we've taken the conversation forward to say that if a young person has gone to university, they have an honors degree, they have a master's degree, we don't want level 5 jobs or level 4 jobs ended. We don't want those things. Because we've proven beyond any reasonable doubt that we can think, we can comprehend, we can do every other thing. So we're saying that all posts that are currently being advertised, from deputy director to every other thing, they must be given to unemployed youth graduates. Because unemployed youth graduates are a ticking time bomb for us as a country. And we need to be able to respond on those things robustly and decisively so. So the part of the 100,000 paid opportunities also seeks to expose some of us into having any form of experience in the work that is needed or work that must be done. But over and above that, the NYDA has recently launched our flagship project that is called Panda Thursday. Maybe, Speaker, you don't know what young people do on Thursdays. There's something that they do. They drink on Thursdays. But we have said that we're going to move away from Phuza Thursday to Panda Thursday. This is where we're going to have collaborative efforts from all government departments. I heard there were young people that were seeking assistance in terms of NPO funding. Social development, I know, recently made a call out for young people to come and apply for funding. But many a times, not that those opportunities don't exist for us. The challenge is them being made easily accessible to us where we reside. So the whole initiative around Panda Thursday is to bring services closer to where young people are at. We launched it in Secunda, and we're going to be rolling it out going forward in the country. As a sit-down program director, I want to say to all of us, the generation of 1976 fought for freedom, where classrooms were no longer conducive for what they wanted. Our generation has a different struggle altogether, and our struggle is for economic freedom in our lifetime. But we're never going to attain those particular things if certain things or certain policies are still in place and not being eradicated in order for them to create a conducive environment for us. It's important for all of us to take such opportunities that when presented to us, we grab them with both hands. The NYDA also has a program of preparing young people for jobs through helping us write CVs, prepare CVs, because one of the challenges with my 10 years working in government is how young people present themselves in their CVs. Young people sometimes struggle to comprehend or present themselves in their CVs. Some, even when they are called for job interviews, they struggle to articulate themselves accordingly so that they get appointed. So the NYDA, through our job preparedness workshop and our CV writing, we're going to be embarking on a massive roadshow as we're preparing that. All the current vacancies that are available must be given to us. So if you are interested in some of the programs that the NYDA does, our table is outside, but we're also available on our area ERP. You can go and register or go and visit your nearest NYDA branch. The NYDA is for young people. It belongs to it belongs to young people, and we're not going to be apologetic about it. I thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Can we give another round of applause? Thank you very much. Can we go to the next speaker? I'm rushing. I'm not going to say anything after each speaker because you don't have ample time. We want to give you at least another round for discussions because this is your event. I'm going to call over Sausa. You have 10 minutes. I'm not sure whether I'll pronounce your surname correctly. Nkamboko. Yeah? Yeah. Can we give him a round of applause? He's the president. Ne? You must listen attentively.
Oh, thanks, Program Director. It's Nkambako. Omenga pambini ligama siyabonga handsome Moses Nkambako, who happened to be the president of the South African Union of Students. I am referred to as the first student in the country. I do not know why. However, to begin, Program Director, Madam Speaker of the National Assembly, Umam Titiza in absentia, Speaker of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal Legislature, honorable boys, honorable members of Parliament, representative of government, the NYDA chairperson, Dr. Sunshine Nyende, honorable President Thabo Sowan as the chairman of SAIC, leaders of youth organizations, fellow young people and students of South Africa. Today we gather here not only to commemorate the bravery and the sacrifice of the youth of 1976, but also to confront the realities facing students and the youth of 2026. 50 years ago, young people took to the streets because they understood that education was not simply a savings. They understood that education was freedom, education was dignity, and education was the tool to liberation. The youth of 1976 fought against exclusion from education. However, the tragedy of our generation is that many young people continue to be excluded from education. This is not because of apartheid laws, but because of poverty, inadequate institutional capacity, unemployment, inequality, historical debts, which is considered as the elephant in the room, and a higher education system that continues, that cannot accommodate all those who qualify for admission. The question before us, as the youth organizations, and to the government of this country, is, what does freedom mean to a young person who passes matric with distinctions but cannot access higher education? What does democracy mean to a student who received admission but cannot afford registration? What does opportunity mean to a graduate who leaves university only to join at the unemployment queue that is existing in South Africa? As the South African Union of Students, we rise today to sound the alarm on the state of our education and training in this current epoch. South Africa is facing a youth crisis that should be treated as the national state of emergency. Every year, hundreds of learners work tirelessly to complete matric. They pass their examinations, many with bachelor's passes, believing that education will be their pathway to a better future. Yet, despite doing everything that society has asked of them, thousands of learners find the doors of higher education closed. This is not because they are unqualified or lazy. It's not because they lack ambition or they are incapable, but it is because our higher education system simply does not have the capacity to accommodate all of the learners that are leaving the system. We continue to celebrate increasing pass rates while remaining silent about the growing numbers of young people who are excluded from the higher education sector despite meeting the admission requirements. As a country, we must confront an uncomfortable truth. We have expanded aspirations faster than we have expanded opportunities. The results are visible in the growing numbers of young people classified as they're not in employment, not in education, or even training. Today, millions of young South Africans find themselves trapped in the needs category. These are future doctors, these are future engineers, future nurses, entrepreneurs, our scientists, artisans, and even innovators whose potential is being wasted. Every year that we fail to expand higher education capacity, we add another cohort of young people to a crisis that is already overwhelming our society. Today, approximately 3.9 young people in South Africa between the ages of 15 and 24 are trapped in the needs category, which is not in employment, not in education, and not in training. And if we are going to include the category of 25 years to 34 years of our young people, the numbers, they rise to 9.4 million of young people, which therefore should tell us that we are not only losing a few students, but we are losing an entire generation to this needs category that has been classified by government. As the South African Union of Students, we therefore call upon the President of the Republic of the country to declare youth exclusion from education, training, and employment a national priority requiring urgent intervention across all spheres of government. Program Director, the first challenge that is confronting the higher education system, it is the issue of access to the doors of higher learning. South Africa cannot continue building universities at a pace that does not meet the population growth and the demand. The traditional model of expanding higher education through physical infrastructure alone is no longer sufficient. We are coming from COVID-19. And COVID-19 demonstrated that universities are capable of delivering education through hybrid and online platforms. Therefore, the establishment of a national open and a digital university can significantly expand the access to higher education opportunities while government continues investing in new physical institutions. As the South African Union of Students, we would like to thank the President of the Republic of South Africa for accelerating the pressure in DHET and the Minister of Finance to build another university in South Africa. We are, however, concerned and worried on the lack of implementation on the resolution and the pace at which DHET lacks innovative ideas to ensure that the institution does kick in. The Department of Education and Training by now should have started the process of starting an online university so that we can be able to expand access for our students to enter institutions of higher learning. The Department of Higher Education and Training should have by now came up with a structure of how the university will be structured and which qualifications are we then going to cater for in this institution. While we also wait for the location and the investment to build a physical institution, the government also needs to consider looking at the scarce skills that are required by our economy and by our students so that we will have employment immediately after the students, they exit the system. Before I call for the greater investment in civic colleges, community colleges, and artisan development programs to ensure that access to post-school opportunities is diversified beyond traditional university pathways. On the issue of NSFAS and issues that are confronting NSFAS, I think now it has become public knowledge that the student debts in the country is sitting at 59 billion. Out of that 59 billion, NSFAS contributes over 29 billion of that student debt, including the students who are coming from the Closeout project. We also have 12 billion in funds that are considered as funds that are not easily going to be recovered from students. Therefore, they were not willing to make a sacrifice as the South African Union of Students. We call upon government to clear these 12 billion debts with immediate effect. And come second semester, it is a conversation that we are willing to have with them, and should it happen that we deadlock, we are going to meet each other in the streets. The National Student Financial Aid Scheme remains one of the most progressive and transformative programs introduced in the democratic South Africa. Millions of students who would have never had entered the education system have done so because of NSFAS. And for this, the country must acknowledge the importance of the scheme, and we must be grateful for the government for this scheme. This clearly shows that the government has been working tirelessly to deliver service delivery to its people, more especially to its students. However, we must acknowledge that students continue to face serious challenges relating to funding cuts, as we have seen already allegedly heard that there is over 13,000 students that are at the verge of being defunded, despite NSFAS funding them beginning of this year. With those students that are at the verge of being defunded, they've been classified as students that are falling under the gap investigation. And it's also quite disappointing that we do not see people who are coming from the higher education sector so that they can be able to listen to these submissions. And with the students that are under the gap investigation, the students that we are not willing to compromise on, and we demand that NSFAS reinstates their funding with immediate effect. And as South, we are not calling for the destruction of NSFAS or even an overhaul of the scheme, but we are calling for the scheme to be strengthened in terms of its system capacity. We need a modernization of NSFAS system whereby we will have faster processing of appeals, improved communication with students, greater accountability mechanism. And to cover two more ones, the curriculum relevance. The higher education must prepare students not only to graduate, but to also participate meaningfully in the economy. Too often, graduates leave institutions with qualifications, but without pathways into employment, entrepreneurship, and further development. And on student support, access without support is not transformation. Admission without success, it's not transformation. And registration without graduation, it's also not transformation. Student support must extend beyond academics. Students require academic development, mental health support, psychological services, career guidance, financial literacy education, gender-based violence support, disability support services, leadership development opportunities, and warning systems to identify the students at risk before they even underperform. And program director, the youth of 1976 demanded access to education. The youth of 2026 are demanding access to opportunities. Our generation does not ask for charity, but we ask for investment. We ask for inclusion. We ask for the systems that are going to be able to work and serve the purpose of students. We ask for a higher education system that matches the aspiration of our people. And if South Africa is serious about economic growth, reducing unemployment and combating poverty and building social cohesion, then investment in higher education and training cannot be treated as an expenditure, but it must be treated as a national development strategy. And as I learned, a program director, I think it's quite important that we also raise to the young people of this country that the youth sector has started organizing itself. And we are calling on all of the youth formations, foundations,
Mr.
and
President,
all organizations that
Mr.
fix
President,
issues of
in
students
Parliament we
to
are
come
given
and
5
join
minutes
the
and
youth
we are,
sector.
our
Amandla.
microphone get cut off. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President. I'm now going to hand over to my co-chair, the beautiful lady. She just reminded me of something. So I'm gonna call her accordingly so that I don't get charged. I'm with Honorable Chauke Adonis. She just said to me, you know what, Honorable Mulukumbi, you need to call me accordingly. I'm a married woman, so I don't want to get divorced. So I'm with a beautiful lady, and can we give her the round of applause? She'll take over from here.
Young people's progression and development. So as we call forward, we're going to request that our speakers progression and development. So as we call forward, we're going to request that our speakers that do come forward are mindful of the time. There will be 7 minutes allocated to them to give their presentation and their overview, and also to give us in terms of what their organizations do and where they see youth transformation, development, and inclusion going in this country. We will start off with SAIC, which is the South African Youth Economic Council, by, I think, Mr. Kaba. Did I say that correctly? Is it Mr. Kaba? So can we please have Mr. Kaba, who will then join us, who is coming from the South African Youth Economic Council. Can we please give him a round of applause as he joins us? Can we check if the representative from South African entrepreneurs are here? To the next one. Okay. We are then going to go to the next organization. We do hope that SAIC will come. I think it's a very important institution that represents young people. Give me a second, my young people. Okay, now we move on to the next formation, which is the LGBTQA+, which will be represented by, I think it's GQ Al Sal. Am I correct? RG Sal? Do we have RG Sal? Our LGBTQA+ youth formation, where are you? We want all sectors to be here. Are they not here? We do hope that they will join us. This is unfortunate because we want to ensure that young people are represented in the diversity. Am I correct that young people must be represented in the diversity? Meaning young people from across South Africa, whatever racial groups they're coming from, those from the rural township communities, those who are coming from previously disadvantaged communities such as the LGBTQAI+, those who are persons with disabilities, the most vulnerable must be sitting with us today. Am I correct? Young people, am I correct? No young person must be left behind, Angere. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move forward to the next presentation, which is going to come from Formation, which is going to be S. Inclusi, who is coming from the Disability Youth South Africa. So Disabled Youth South Africa. Do we have a representative from Disability Youth South Africa? Thank you very much. Malibongo! Malibongo! Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, for that introduction. Good afternoon, Program Director, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished guests, fellow youth leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Today we gather to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the 1976 Uprising, a defining moment in our nation's history when young people stood against injustice and demanded a future worthy of their humanity. The youth of 1976 taught us that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to challenge systems that deny people their dignity. As we honor their sacrifice, we must ask ourselves whether all young people in South Africa today truly enjoy the freedom of which they fought. Ours is simple. It is to infiltrate spaces that were not designed for people who look like me. Spaces where disability is often seen before ability. Spaces where access is treated as a privilege instead of a right. Throughout my journey as a young leader, I have learned a fundamental truth. People with disabilities do not want to be treated with extra fragility. We want inclusivity. We want access in the same capacity as our non-disabled counterparts enjoy. Yes, yet despite our progressive constitution, many young persons with disabilities continue to face barriers that prevent their full participation in society. The challenge is not our disabilities. The challenge is a society that continues to be designed without us in mind. When public buildings remain inaccessible, we are reminded. When sign language interpreters are absent, we are reminded. When the only wheelchair accessible entrance is a back alley, we are reminded. When young people with disabilities complete their studies and still cannot access employment opportunity, we are reminded. When we are expected to adapt ourselves to systems that were not designed for us in mind, we are reminded. The reality is that many decisions affecting people with disabilities are made by people who have never lived our experiences. Too often, accessibility and inclusion are discussed in boardrooms, conference halls, policy documents, yet very little action follows. As a result, the burden of inclusion falls on those who are excluded. We are expected to fight for access, to fight for recognition, equal opportunities, fight to be seen, fight to be heard, fight to simply belong. Ladies and gentlemen, empowerment for a sustainable future cannot exist without inclusion. A sustainable future is not one where some young people thrive while the other remain on the margins. A sustainable future is one where every young person can contribute their talents, regardless of their race, their gender, their geography, or their disability. When young people with disabilities are excluded, South Africa loses future entrepreneurs, lawyers, engineers, doctors, artists, innovators, and leaders. We lose solutions, we lose talent, we lose opportunities, but most importantly, we lose the very diversity that strengthens our democracy. Today, I call upon Parliament, government departments, private sector, educational institutions, and civil society to move beyond conversations and actually commit to sustainable action. We need accessible schools, accessible universities, inclusive employment opportunities, accessible transport systems, disability-inclusive technology and digital platforms, greater investment in youth-led disability organizations, meaningful representation of persons with disabilities in these decision-making spaces. Because nothing about us can ever be decided without us. I dream of a South Africa where disabled bodies are given the tools and the support necessary to participate fully in society. A South Africa where disability is normalized rather than stigmatized. A South Africa where achievement is celebrated without pity. A South Africa where young people can assert their rights, pursue their ambitions, and fulfill their potential without any barriers. These aspirations are not impossible. They're not unreasonable, nor are they special requests. These are constitutional rights. As we commemorate the youth of 1976, let us remember that their struggle was never about inclusion for some. It was about inclusion and freedom for all. The next chapter of South Africa's democratic journey must be disability inclusion. We deserve a seat at the table. And if history has taught us anything, it is that when excluded people refuse to remain silent, change becomes inevitable. As a disability advocate, as a young South African, and someone who understands both the barriers and the possibilities that lie before us, I stand here with a simple message. Accessibility is dignity. Inclusion is justice. Empowerment is freedom. And a sustainable future cannot exist until every young person, including every young person with a disability, is fully included in shaping it. My name is Esishem Tuzi, and my vision for an inclusive South Africa is intentional. Thank you.
Can we please get another round of applause? This round of applause, once again, is for resilient young members of South Africa. Young South Africans who are saying, not in my name, but in my lifetime. A revolution must take place of inclusion, of access, and of development. So as we sit here, as you have debated and we've received presentations, we're going to go and open the session up for discussions. We're saying, give us the solutions to the problems that you're faced with. We are sitting here as legislators. Tell us where there is a legislative misalignment, where you see where government needs to improve itself, so that more and more millions of young people can start to benefit. Young people must benefit from this democracy. Our constitution gives you that right. The legislations that exist say you must be included. You are no longer asking for a seat at the table. You are demanding it through your actions. As young people, we always say you must roar, show your might and show your strength. Always remain resilient, no matter what. Always defy the odds. Young people exist in their diversity. Young people must never be left behind. So as we sit here, you must look to your neighbor and say to the next person to you that you and I will walk this journey, and I, as a young person, shall not leave you behind. That is a commitment and the true reflection of an activist who chooses not to be silent and not to leave anyone behind. So we thank you, and as I hand over to the panel, I must also indicate legislations that you must participate in. The NYDA bill, and also the Disability Rights Bill that is coming. Young people, go out in your numbers. Go and vote, go and register. Participate in all processes. We then open the session up to our honorable members, which is Honorable Kobe and Honorable Dlamini, who will then open the session up. And I want us to also speak to the economic opportunities that you see yourselves accessing. Ask questions about how you can access them. Speak about the challenges that you have faced. I myself, I am the whip in the Portfolio Committee of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. And I will also give my email so that we can start addressing your lived reality issues as young people. As I present to you, please give them a round of applause. Honorable Kobe and Dlamini. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Honorable Chauke and Honorable Mulukume. Allow me to stand on the protocol already established. Dumela. E phetse hantle. Re teng. Le batle jwang ka nnete. Haholo re dutse serameng se batang hakana ka holong ka mona. Empa he re batle. Dipuisano di tsamaya hantle. Fellow South Africans, honorable and young people of our country, you deserve better in your country. And that better cannot come or will not come from anyone except from yourself. Please assist us to give you better. We are going to get to the session of discussion. However, our discussions are going to be structured this time around. Are going to be structured. From Free State, Member of Parliament. It will be structured in the following manner. The discussions will be aligned to the presentation done now. Rata hore re le lebohe ka di inputs tse le di entseng prior. Because most of your inputs were solution driven. Many a times in this country, we like complaining. We like pointing fingers against each other to a point that we forget we have a responsibility as South Africans to bring solutions to our problems. Unfortunately, around the world, the responsibility and mandate of government is to produce laws, provide services to the people of the country. Because the reality of the matter, Honorable Deputy Chair and Chair Frole, government cannot create jobs for all South Africans. It's a fact, and it is not possible. That's why we have to structure our education system from the basic to the tertiary, to produce skills that this country requires the most, so that we are able to have graduates that will partner and work with government to bring about solutions to the challenges of this country, especially economically. Because when we talk economic challenges, it includes everything, be it health, be it social, be it education, everything, justice. So we need young people like the ones who stood up today earlier on and speak their minds.
What was even encouraging, they even quoted their own constitution. That shows that Africa, or South Africa, does have talent. We do have talent. Let us give ourselves a round of applause. Our questions and clarities or inputs will be 2 minutes per speaker. We have only 30 minutes for this session. As we have explained, it's very cold here. People are start freezing. But young people are saying the struggle continues. Honorable Kube will be the one who will be facilitating this session. Re tlo kopa fela tshebedisano mmoho ya lona ka nako. But Chair, I must indicate we are very disappointed as Parliament that most organizations, youth organizations, we invited here today to come and speak to young people, they are not here. And those organizations are funded by the government. And that is part that we must deal with as Parliament when we go back. It can't be. Young people are here. They are crying that in their provinces, in their communities, they don't know this organization, as if they don't exist. And now, today, it tells us why young people are so confused, frustrated, not knowing what to do. Because organizations that government invested money into them to service and assist government with the challenges of young people are not taking their work very serious. And that cannot be allowed. So we are going to go back and really handle this matter differently. It cannot be. And we would like to apologize on behalf of the presiding officers that are leading young parliament in South Africa, that really we are disappointed that we are going to correct this. In future, it will never happen again. But we are happy because the young people of this country, chairs, have stood up and raised their issues. And but solutions are amongst yourselves and with yourselves, not us. Leadership. The country is going down the drain. Because leadership is a. So let us assist leadership to lead us. On those few words, Honorable Kobe, come and facilitate. I'll be a timekeeper for those 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, young people. How are you? Likai, Ukhandet, Abusheni. All right, no, that's the spirit. My name is Honorable Malebu Kobe. I've been given the responsibility to drive this thing. This is, I'm sure, the most favorite part of your program, where you guys get to really engage the issues and talk. I'll be facilitating this and just making sure that we get to our 30-minute mark. I'll be timing the session, so don't fall over your 2 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you 2 minutes. If you fall over that, we cut you right there. And then I'm joking, but if I would have, please, hands, a show of hands from people who want to participate. So ideally, it would be nice if we had about 15 speakers, and that will amount to the 30 minutes that we want to achieve. But I do understand that there is an itch and young people want to talk. So because our previous chair started from this end and went this way, I'll be doing distributive justice. I'll start this way, and then I'll head over this way. Are we okay? Okay, so I'll start with noting you're the first one, second, third, fourth. So with a cap, you spoke before. Yes, yes, yes. Keep it down. If you've spoken before, please give somebody else a chance. There we go. Pardon? Oh, it's a she. Pardon. It's your hats that I'm mistake for. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. So it's 1 here. This lady with white. 2, 3 with a cap. 4, 5 at the back. That's you. 5. You are 5. 6, ma'am. That's you. 7, ma'am. Gentleman right there. 8, 9. You were noted, ma'am. Yes, you were 7. 10, yes. 11. Sure. You guys are next to each other. Can't you share notes? No, you can't. That's fine. It's a joke. 12, 13, 14, 15. Can we limit it to this and see if we can go over to the next round of speakers? Ma'am, number 1, there's a roving mic.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Noluthando Zuma. Chair, firstly, we'd just like to thank you for this platform. I think that one important thing for today would have been for us to actually just reflect on the legacy of the 1976 youth uprising. I think even though we look at the challenges that we face today, it is very important for us to still actually reflect and look at the strides that we have made as a country since 1976, considering that we are commemorating the 50th anniversary. So I think one of the greatest gains obviously would be our democracy, and just appreciating that young people actually do now have a voice, whether through activism or other platforms. Chair, I don't like sitting down without using the platform just to remind young people to exercise their right in the upcoming local government elections. I think those are one of the greatest strides that we can appreciate from the sacrifices of the 1976 youth. But my question, I think, is not only for the chairperson of the NYDA, but all the other honorable members that are present today. I'm quite sad that not everyone is still here, but I know that most of them would also provide oversight to different government departments. I feel as though there is this sense that youth development is only a function of the NYDA. And I think that we can all actually just agree that, you know, every department does have, you know, a responsibility when it comes to youth empowerment. So just to the chair also, maybe considering that, you know, she's already been in office for a significant amount of days, or maybe they might be approaching a year. Chair, do you think that the government is doing enough to ensure that youth development is integrated into the work of all departments, rather than just being seen primarily as a responsibility of the NYDA? And what role do you think young people themselves should play through democratic participation, ensuring that youth development remains a priority across
your 2 minutes.
government? Thank you, Chair.
You were doing well, but 2 minutes and 17 seconds. You ate away at your time. So instead of greeting and observing protocols, please get into your question so that we can at least get to the other side. If that's in order, the second speaker.
It is said that South African laws and frameworks on how to advance the country look very wonderful on paperwork, but in contrast to how it is actually translated in reality. But this is just an argument. The real question actually lies in how we are able to hold our government accountable. And with those words, I greet the House. Standing before you is Khomoto M from Save the Children. Now, with this, I would love to just ask the NYDA chairperson, Dr. Mienda, what are you actually doing with regards to inclusion? The programs that you have, are you including people with disabilities when you actually catering for us? Do they actually benefit from the initiatives that you have? And then secondly, how is the success of your outreaches actually monitored? I'm talking about the NYC Trailblazers Annual Camp, the SEDFA, the Triple BEE, those outreaches. How do you monitor, are they really effective on the ground? I'm speaking from experience, being the Trailblazers president. There is really nothing. I was just the president. Then what happened? I've attended parliament, children's parliaments, and now we're at the youth parliament. Then what? We can have these dialogues, similar seatings, CSO partnerships, and various initiatives. But what then could be happening after this? Are you going to contact us? How are we going to actually continue with this? So another thing is how I would love to mention that with the current unemployment rate, we have about 80 to 90% of our disability community, including deaf people, who are still unable to access job opportunities, of which less than 2% are able to secure senior or professional roles, and the 7.5% of the population which is comprised by them. So then shows the initiatives that you have, we don't really see them. So yeah, my time is up. Thanks.
Excellent. Great timing. The next speaker, please. That was 1 minute and 50 seconds. Next speaker.
Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
protocols observed. My name is Estwin Malgas, and I'm from Heideveld, Cape Town. I represent the National Colored Congress as proposed ward candidate for Ward 44. I also want to take this opportunity to wish my president, if it would allow me, Honorable Fadel Adams, for celebrating his 50th birthday yesterday. Strange enough that we're also honoring and observing the 50th anniversary of the Soweto Uprising. Today, I do not want to complain. Today, I want to bring solutions to unemployment. Our manifesto states that we call for increased accessibility of effective operational skills development centers and even upskilling students on schools. I can only speak from my own experience. Recently, I have partnered with Mikalo Malan from the NYDA and managed to actually get 4 students from poor communities to actually go through their training skills developments, and they will receive funding to create their own businesses and then create jobs for other unemployed. So I want to thank the NYDA for that opportunity. I'm also told that there are 6 other candidates from 2 other areas close to us. So thank you so much for that 10 students. However, we want to push some more through to the NYDA. There's also another success story, a young lady named Katie Lee Peterson. She's currently watching on YouTube, so all protocol observed. In grade 11, young Katie Lee offered her service to be my personal assistant. By the time she matriculated, she not only had a matric certificate, but also, listen carefully, 2 years of experience in the office administration area. She was the only student on her entire high school with a matric certificate, but also 2 years experience in the office admin. Today, she can apply as a secretary. Today, she can apply as a personal assistant. In fact, she's today my personal assistant and secretary as well.
As you wrap up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I want to find out
No, I'm sorry, but 2 minutes is done.
I'm so sorry.
You shouldn't have wished anyone a happy birthday.
Don't
You can
worry
move it over to the next speaker.
In conclusion, thank you to the
Thank
NYDA.
you.
We appreciate you.
It's 2 minutes, it's crucial. Our presiding officers are leaving. And we want to get to as many issues as possible. I understand you want to do shout-outs and family greetings, but let's get to the core of issues. We don't want to come here 16th of August again, 16th of June again next year, and we don't have resolutions. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good day. I'm going to go straightly to the point that our universities are having an available space of 230,000, and roughly we're having plus minus 850,000 students that are registered to write matric this year, and we have got students that were not taken last year. So we're talking about plus minus 1 million next year, competing for 300,000, for 230,000 spaces. So that aspect that the South President was speaking about in terms of increasing the universities and an aspect that the government needs to look at. Another important aspect that I think the government really needs to look at, you go to high schools, you will find principals there because they want higher pass marks. They combine subjects. You will find a student doing tourism, economics, maths, lit, and all of these subjects that are not assisting us in terms of what we need in the economy. So I think what the parliament needs to do, they need to go back and have compulsory subjects that the students are supposed to do. And then when they are done after that, they go to the institutions of higher learning and say, in terms of our economy, this is what we need. We need economists, we need engineers, we need this and we need this. So then those be the qualifications that will be done in these institutions that are going to be built. Then our curriculums specifically, they don't speak to what our economy needs. Then I will be going to the issue of these unemployed graduates. I think some of the things we need to look at were unemployable because we lack experience. If ever the government could consider having internship to say, if ever you're doing an economics qualifications, just like in engineering, you get an internship of 6 months, the banks are engaged to say, can you please take these students and take them so that they get the experience. Then the last point would be on the issue of the taxpayers' children. Those people, if ever you can look at the teachers, police, they get a salary of 15 to 20,000, yet their children do not qualify to get the funding that they are giving for the government to pay for other students. So that is another aspect that the governments need to look at. Thank
Excellent,
you so much.
well noted, thank you. The next speaker.
Greetings to the House at large. I'm just going to be blunt. So according to point 6.3 of the National Youth Policy, it states that the legal drinking age is supposed to be changed to 21. My question is, how far are we with that, being that that ends in 2030? It also states that taverns shouldn't be in close proximity in schools, but yet where I reside in Alex, you can find that near school you can find close to five or six taverns. In fact, in my own yard there is a tavern. Another one, basically like the profiling of youth. It starts from the age of 15. So, and constitutionally a child is anyone between the ages of 0 and 18. So my question is, being that like young people are from 15 to 18 are under the statistics of youth unemployment, so the numbers are high. So how about if we profile the statistics using the age, so that you can be able to deal with the root cause of youth unemployment and identify the gaps where they are lacking. And another solution to actually like giving children the skills, giving young people the skills that they actually need for them to get employment. Number one, it can be job shadowing. Like speaking from experience, I first experienced a job expo when I was doing my matric, and that was way too late. You see, so about if you start them when they are about to enter high school, like, okay, you want to be a lawyer, here are lawyers. Lawyers will teach you what to do. And that will be very much better, being that the children will actually know what exactly they're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You did well in terms of time. Before we go on to the next speaker, I just want to acknowledge the young people who are joining us on the online platforms. We see you. Kindly do send your questions as well through the online platforms. You still have a voice. Let's use it, and we will make sure that we'll integrate it into the working paper that we'll be working on. The next speaker, please. Do you not have access to a mic?
Okay, so my name is Eleanor Kolomgamani. So I'll be speaking under the TVET colleges. So I wanted to ask questions. Under TVET colleges, they don't have a prospectus. So what I want to know is that there's more knowledge about university entry level, but TVET colleges we don't have enough information about TVET colleges. We have to know how you qualify, because not all of us are good with theory. We want practical work. Like myself, I just like working practically. So what I want to, people should know what is NCV, National Vocational Certificate. And after, most people don't know that you can go to a TVET college, and then after that you can take that, after obtaining the course that you've done, you can actually go to a university, but only technical universities. So what I wanted to ask is that, when are those things going to be initiated, and so that we can create an involving change. And then another thing is that we have NATED courses are being phased out, and there are new occupational programs, and we don't have much information about them. So I'd also like for the government to actually educate people, and then also in grade 9, prepare the career exposed. TVET colleges are not exposed. Mostly we know about the universities and whatever, and we're not only good, not everyone is good with theory. So I would actually like for them to implement something for TVET colleges, and also have recreational activities and extracurricular activities for TVET colleges, because they also need to be involved, because I'm a sports person myself, I play cricket, so I'd like those to be initiated in TVET colleges so that we can play. Everyone has a right, and then university is not the only. Yes, education is equal, but not the same. We all need to. Okay.
Well done. I believe it's this way, yes.
Sanbonan, can you hear me? Okay. My name is Ntsapokazi Nagibi, and I am from Action SA Youth Forum. So firstly, I want to say, if we take anything out of this discussion today, is that youth unemployment is a national crisis. I think we all need to agree on that as young people, that we somehow need to find a solution around youth unemployment. And what was interesting today was that Action SA Youth Forum took to the Premier's office to deliver a memorandum that speaks about how the youth of Gauteng are crying regarding unemployment. But also, as a young person in South Africa, I mean, I looked at the Constitution. Today we are celebrating, this year we're celebrating 30 years since the adoption of the Constitution. And I want to propose that maybe we should add another chapter in the Constitution to make it 15. And this chapter will be focusing on the future of South Africa, where we want to go is the future of South Africa. Traditionally, when we are reading the Constitution, it reads as a document that is in defense of a state that no longer exists, but it doesn't give us a guideline or even a blueprint of where South Africa is supposed to be going. And I think as young people of this time, we need to challenge ourselves and to say, how does the next 30 years of South Africa look like, and what is our contribution towards that discourse? Thank you so much.
Good time, good timing.
Sanbonani, my name is Nomfundo Taylor from Engage South Africa. We are a non-profit organization that works with young people, specifically high school aged, and we basically deal with civic education and youth advocacy. And so our work is stationed in Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and the Northern Cape, particularly in the underserved communities. Right. And so our main struggle right now is, how do we get access to government? Our main funders and sponsors are internationally, Canada Fund and so. We struggle a whole lot to get into government spaces or partner with government entities. And so this is particularly for Dr. Sunshine and Honorable Adonis to let's have a conversation to see how we can partner, because we are open to partnering, because we also realize that, the funding landscape is quite narrow. And so how do we come up with solutions to still deliver, but through partnerships and the likes? And this is even to the other departments, how can we get into those spaces? Because our work is primarily in high school spaces. And we have a perfect example of our work, which is this young man who's now a vet SRC. He started with us and he built that foundation. And right now he's a young leader in his spaces and he's just continuing the work. And so we are an organization that is solutions driven. We work with young people and help them solve community issues within their school spaces, their communities, and help them identify how they can put in the work instead of looking outside, but channel it from the inside.
Yeah. Thank you. I think, Chair, we didn't have those two presentations. They failed us, but we've got young people who are willing and who just want to come, even during a question and answer session, because nature does not allow a vacuum. Someone's going to stand in the gap, and thank you for standing in the gap. The next speaker.
Thank you. My name's Dean Barnard. I'm the National Secretary of Build One South Africa. Today I want to keep it very focused, all protocol observed, on solutions. Last year we were represented in the Youth Parliament, and we were asked for policy submissions, but to date we have still not received any indication of what has happened with these recommendations or these solutions that we brought up last year. So that's something I want to talk about. I have three key messages. As young people, we can't talk about employment without talking about dependency. As young people, we are dependent on opportunities. We are dependent on education. We are dependent on loan repayments on that education. We are dependent on social welfare through social relief grants. That dependency is something that we need to change, and that is something that we've prescribed in the policy document that was submitted last year as well, and that's been reformed for this year as well, that I have prepared. It first starts by having special economic zones that prioritize youth jobs. So there would be a quota system put into place that 25% of all jobs within these economic zones would be held by people between the ages of 18 and 35. The second point to that is that there needs to be township opportunity zones. We need to develop the township economies. That is the backbone of South Africa. We cannot rely on CBDs and cities to be a place of opportunity. We need townships to become those safe havens and those places where people do not have to move from their homeland under the gaze of having to find employment opportunities. And then funding youth and businesses. That is another thing we outlined. We need to get rid of the red tape around small SMMEs, because as young people, we don't have an idea problem. We have a problem with government not allowing our businesses to scale up and employ our peers. But I want to finish off, because we don't have much time left.
You have 20 seconds.
In saying that Youth Parliament also needs reform. We need it to be a place where we can come together more than once a year and only be reminded of Youth Parliament when it's June. The same way GBV only gets spoken about when it's Women's Month. It is something that we need to meet up with every 6 months to know exactly what is going on, where these policies have gone, where our submissions have gone, and what solutions we can find through that. I thank you very much.
Good. Thank you very, very much. We've got one hand. Before I move over to the next speaker in the physical platform, because we only have 4 minutes, I only have 3 minutes. I'd just like to acknowledge one of the speakers on the online platform. I'd like to acknowledge the hand and maybe let that come on. If we can have the hand on the online platform and have them project and ask a question. While you're still busy with that, let's not waste any seconds. If you can speak, ma'am, if you can rise up and just continue with your point while we're sorting that one out.
Good afternoon. My name is Andile, and I am a youth representative from the African Christian Democratic Party, the ECDP. And mine is very short. I want to say that we've got great minds in South Africa. Our young people are not lazy. Our young people are not stupid. Our young people just lack opportunity and platforms and a chance to be given in order to contribute. May I ask that this youth parliament structure, which supposedly is led by the Young Parliamentarian Steering Committee, engage young people before the youth parliament itself for co-creation of the structure, so that young people can dictate how this youth parliament runs and is governed, because it cannot be that we come year in, year out to yep. Right now as we speak, I don't know if anyone is taking notes. I don't know if anyone is taking resolutions of all the 30, 60 hands that have gone up, that when we come next year, we are not repeating the same thing over again. And then my other thing is that with the national voter registration, can we stop encouraging young people to only go and vote? But can we also start encouraging young people to take up space and be councillors in their own regions and their own districts? If government is not going to create jobs for you, you go and take those jobs for yourselves. You go and be councillors. Let me tell you something. You don't need much to become a councillor. You only need to be above 18 years old. You will learn on the job.
They are not doing the job, so go take their jobs. Young people, go take up space. Don't just go and vote for them to go and sit and earn money and do nothing. You go and be councillors. Go and register to become councillors and be the change that you want to see. Thank you.
Well done. That was good. While we're applauding, can I just ask, by a show of hands, how many of you are registered to vote? Sure. Sure. Is this all? Are these the people who are going to take the jobs from councillors? I mean, this is not enough, South Africa. We really need more people to really vote. We need to start shaming each other into registering to vote. It is unacceptable that young people, those who are eligible to vote, of course, are not registered to vote. That needs to change so that we can go and take those jobs. I'm just going to acknowledge the SASF Head of Presidency online. Please do open your mic and register your question. Okay, I'm going to move over to Mr. Zukanye Mankinya online. Okay, while you're still sorting yourselves out, there is... Okay. You're audible, Mr. Zukanye. You can register your question. The assembly is listening.
Disability organization covered, she mostly emphasized on inclusion, and inclusion cannot be divorced from accessibility. So, honorable members, it is on these grounds that we recommend that it's about time that South Africa should, especially through its legislative mechanism in terms of Section 231, ratify the Marrakesh Treaty. So, why am I saying that? For those who are not aware, there was a Constitutional Court judgment that declared the Copyright Act unconstitutional to an extent that it denied the production of literary works into accessible copy format. So to cure that defect, the Constitutional Court read in the words from that particular convention that I'm standing here today to emphasize and to submit to the legislature that having been endorsed by the Apex Court, I think it's about time that we as the country also ratify the Marrakesh Treaty, because that will also provide a framework in terms of which we can then 10 seconds. Really?
Yes, time. As you wrap up.
Yes, so as I wrap up, we indicated that digital inaccessibility is a huge problem. So we should, in fact, the legislature should consider, I submitted to the registrar of this house that the legislature should consider ratifying the Marrakesh Treaty. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to give, my apologies, my sincerest apologies. I need to give one more speaker, and because we haven't had anyone with a uniform representing learners, I'm going to give them an opportunity.
Chair.
And then we are going to hand it over. I will recognize you in a minute. Thank you. And then we are going to hand it over to Dr. Sunshine from the NYDA to respond to most of your inputs, and then we're going to wrap it up and close the session. But I have not recognized you. I have not recognized you. There is. Okay.
Yes.
So,
in that manner,
when I did start out, I said I wanted to give an equal redistribution of opportunities of questions. The previous chair who was here started on this end and went over to this end. And then now we went over from this end, and we didn't even conclude on this end. I want to give an opportunity to her. I do recognize that there are speakers who wanted to speak about the NYDA, and I think there were 3 of them that were suppressed. So we'll give them an opportunity to speak as we wrap up. I understand we have ample inputs, but we do not have ample time. So maybe let's just work with each other on that basis. And then we'll give NYDA to wrap up, and then we close the session. Thank you very much. The young person in front, please do take the podium.
Greetings to one and all. Today, as I stand before you, as we celebrate the 50th anniversary, we should not only look at how far we've come, but how much work still needs to be done. One of the biggest issues that continues to affect our youth is disability. However, disability shouldn't mean inability. Many young people living with disability continue to face challenges such as unequal access to quality education and accessibility in environments, social inclusion. This raises an important question. Can we truly say we have honored the legacy of 1976 if some young people still continue to face barriers to education and opportunities because of disabilities? Going forward, we must strengthen inclusivity, education, provide accessibility, increase awareness, and ensure that equal opportunities are provided for every learner. As we celebrate today, let us remember that true progress is achieved where every young person is given an opportunity and not left behind. Thank you.
Under a minute, excellent. Thank you. Take it to NYDA. If we can limit it to the previous speakers of NYDA, there were 3 hands previously from the chair. If we can have those and a continuance. Thank you. Yes, take the roving mic to them. Thank you.
Ke a leboha ka ho re fa monyetla wa hore re kgutlele tabeng tsa rona tsa dipotso tsa NYDA. Ke tlo senya nako. Ke lebohela presentation ya NYDA. Mathata a ka ke yana. Ke tswa Sedibeng region. I assisted 30 young participants to register themselves into NYDA portal, so then they can receive an outreach program, ya business management training. Yes, the presentation is all well and wonderful in paper, but on reality, when you go to branch service, in Vereeniging, NYDA branch service does not even have a branch manager as we speak, does not even have a business instructor as we speak. They have been postponing the issue of the actual date to do an outreach program to those young people who we promised to give them a training business at NYDA. As I speak, Lorna Joal, we still have, NYDA will come and tell you we can process and finalize your application in a space of 60 days or 30 days. Lorna Joal, outstanding applications, about what applies in grant, so, nenka netse ke kenal tabeng tsa executive but I'll end there.
Thank you very much. We are moving. One more.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to the House at large. My name is Honorable Jabulane Wana from the Youth Sector Parliament. I am the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee community-driven approaches for youth well-being, mental health, and social cohesion in Gauteng. However, I am a person living with a disability. I am from a special school, a school for learners with special educational needs. So I am rising on not complaining, but encouraging young people that as much as we complain about the broken windows in our classes at the schools, we need to understand that the teachers are not breaking the windows. We are breaking those windows. So we have a blame to take. And when you look at our infrastructure, when we are angry as young people, we ban the infrastructure and then we put the blame to the government. The government is doing their part. We also have got a responsibility to protect what is at our disposal. So as young people, let us be vibrant young people who are ready to take responsibility and accountability and protect what is ours. And then let us remember that when we go back to our respective communities, let us teach young people that freedom goes with responsibilities. You don't have the right to write on a wall that Jabulane was here 2017. The government has a responsibility of giving you those things. You have a responsibility to protect those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. The last speaker, and then Saival. We close it.
Sanbonan, Chair, can I please be protected?
Yes, you are protected.
My name is Zonke Vilagazi. I'm the first regional deputy secretary of the ANC Youth League in Greater Johannesburg. I thought maybe we must not end the session before I say this. Last week, hundreds of young people marched to Katrek after we were made aware of the death of Ugcina Dladla. And after we did that picket, we've received numerous messages from young people saying they have been affected by the same ill treatment. And it was not the first time that a young person died in Katrek, right? So that case showed us the seriousness of unemployment in our country. And as I stand in front here, I'm going to ask or demand that Parliament, through the Portfolio Committee of Labour and Employment and Health, have a public hearing with Katrek, the families of Ugcina Dladla, the unions that are attached there, to ensure that there is justice that is served, because it cannot be that young people are suffering from ill treatment, they are being exploited only because they are unemployed and they are desperate. I think the employers have seen this and they have started weaponizing unemployment, and it cannot be. If there are legislative reforms that must be done, let us have that public hearing so we ensure that the policies are amended if there needs to be any, and there is justice for Ugcina Dladla. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Just the last speaker, we've got a few seconds. That guy who's been crying.
Hi, my name
Ma'am?
is Firauza Lerato. I'm an educator at the primary school, public school. I would just like to let everyone know that the youth that's sitting in front of us, we as teachers are struggling. Those individuals who are unemployed, we are teaching their kids who cannot comprehend because the parent does not understand anything at home when we give homework. That's the first point. The second one is that the government has not given us enough skilled schools for our learners who do not understand the basic of learning. We have education system that is going caps, but we are not given enough resources. We are still teaching as we were in 1976 with a chalk and the board. If it's not a chalkboard, it's a whiteboard. While else other countries are advanced. Kids in primary school in other countries are more advanced than our kids in secondary schools. Kids in schools are going to high school without having the basic skill of reading and understanding. Comprehending is a serious issue in school. I can relate to what the sir has said. As educators, we are struggling in schools because the government does not see that unemployment creates problems in the school environment. Thank you.
Amandla, awethu. No, thank you. Program director, thank you. I've been raising my hand for too long. And also as the qualified unemployed teacher, I can attest to that. Speaker, today as we speak, there are students that are held hostage by Thrive, Res Publica, Mid-City, and Rise. In the University of Pretoria, in the University of Tshwane, and other institutions, because the NSFAS has given them a directive that no student must pay admin fee and also top-up fees. But they're insisting of making students to pay. When we go and picket outside their residence, they call us Stallion Security Technical Force to shoot at us, Speaker. When I was in hospital, when I was arrested, no one, even the parliament, we wrote to the national parliament, including the portfolio, including the university education branch, but they are not assisting us. So we are saying that that the members of parliament, they are here, they must intervene, because currently it's going to be a recess and those students will be held hostage. They can't move. Why NSFAS is quiet? Why they can't use the illegal imitation to make sure that the Res Publica and Thrive that think they are bullying because they can bully us with lawyers, they are held accountable. We as the students will never be allowed to be bullied by those ones. And a speaker, one thing that you must do, speaker, next time, please allow the youth to speak. We can't have members of parliament, they're saying at 3:30 they have to go. We are here because of their youth and we want to leave our frustration to them because they are the ones who are in charge there. Why they can't tell Office of Honorable Minister Butumanamel, we have been contacting that minister and telling him, Baba Butumanamel, come to rescue. He doesn't do anything. And the president of South came here and speak about the student death here. Well, he know that he's sitting that portfolio that advised the minister, but he failed to tell the minister that students are owing 60 billion, and the minister donated 149 billion. That money could have been used to clear historical debt and make sure that our sisters and brothers, they are having their certificate and they are having their degrees. We cannot be bullied. We are calling all upon the youth of South Africa that on the 21 July, let us picket there at the Department of Higher Education in Pretoria to fight this system. Amandla!
Away two. I'd just like, as I wrap up and I close, I want each and every one of you to really give yourselves a round of applause for speaking and representing young people. It is important that you do have a voice. Honorable House Chair, Honorable Frolic, I just want to say that there is a need, there is a clear need that we must have a multi-party youth caucus in Parliament, which will ensure that we continue to speak about issues and we call on departments to hold them accountable. Young people must give us that mandate so that we can hold departments accountable to say we will not pass a budget if it does not cater 30% to young people. There are vacant posts and I must prioritize young people. So we as Parliament, I want to make a commitment to young people that we are going to establish a body that does not, find us meeting only on the 16th of June every year. It needs to have weekly traction, weekly reports, and we need to summon people to come and account to us as to why young people are unemployed. So thank you very much for being in this session. We thank you very much for contributing to it. I call upon the Honorable Frolic to come and close the session. Thank you very much for your attention. You've been excellent.
So thank you, Honourable Member, and also thank you for the participants. We reflected this afternoon and this morning on the legacy of 1976. However, as you yourselves have stated, that the challenges that we face now is different. It's completely different because we are in a different era and there need to be practical solutions to the issues that you have raised. The Honourable Kobe correctly mentions at the end the importance of a multi-party youth, where are they? A youth caucus. And this is a vision that I've had, and it is something, again, that I've mentioned this morning to the Speaker of the National Assembly, and she said it must simply be done. So Nobala, Secretary to Parliament, the Speaker has undertaken that the matter will be referred to the Subcommittee of Rules, and that the Youth Caucus be set up exactly along the same lines as a Women's Caucus. But I don't want that structure to become just another forum where discussions are held. It must be an interactive forum, and we can use the homepage of Parliament, where we can create the necessary mechanisms through ICT, through a youth portal or whatever, where youth can simply access and also receive responses. Because it's one thing to raise your concerns, it's another thing to get a time-based response with. And I think some of the participants mentioned that they were last week or the week before in a similar discussion, and they want feedback. Can't wait until next year, and it's a fair request. I've also heard a very strong voice coming through and amplifying the severe challenges that young people are facing with NSFAS. NSFAS was set up with the objective of providing support to those who do not have anything. And yes, NSFAS has done well over the years. However, there are certain issues in NSFAS that seems to be almost insurmountable. And that is why the Higher Education Committee in Parliament, led by the Honourable Letsie, has been actively going around to universities, and I think it must be extended into public hearings on NSFAS so that we can hear those voices. I especially want to thank the voices also that came through of you are sitting here in uniform, school uniforms. Beautiful. Because you balance the debate today. Because you have a certain group of those who are outside of formal schooling already, who raise their issues, but you raised very concretely, succinctly and clearly. You can see you have not been politicized too much yet, because you focus exactly on the problem. And that then balanced out with the amplification, with the challenges that are being experienced. There is a lot of work that has been done by the NYDA, and I think the chairperson of the NYDA will be the first to agree that there's a lot that needs to be done. Because the challenges and the legacy are so big, it's impossible to do everything at once. But what we want to see is progress. We want to see also that the issues that are continuously being raised when we have these type of engagements do get addressed. For those who say that they have submitted memorandums last year, you've got political party representatives of those parties in Parliament. Follow up with them, because they are the warm bodies there in Parliament as well, who must advance the youth agenda. This Parliament, the 7th Parliament, has the largest percentage of young people, that is those who are under 35, in Parliament. A big percentage. And that's why if we structure them correctly through the multi-party youth caucus, we can definitely achieve more. What we need to do is to open up the space even more for the young voices, for young people to be heard. Because it's only when people's voices are raised that we'll be able to respond to it. But also to respond in such a way that it changes the course of where our young people currently find ourselves. We are thus encouraged by those who participated in the program today, and also those who work in making this program possible. I want to urge the provincial legislatures, because there are representatives here from the different provincial legislatures. When issues are raised in a youth forum or caucus or gathering in a provincial legislature, we must timelessly respond. And we must respond in such a way that those voices do not become frustrated with a lack of response. During Youth Month, there will be a number of legislators who will be raising these type of issues. As a former educator, I fully concur and understand what you are saying. Because in my constituency in Kebega, I don't go to the formal Model C schools when I visit schools. I go to schools who are still there in those areas where I grew up. And you do find that challenge, a lack of support from parents due to various reasons. And I'm not here to put the blame on those parents. But for various reasons, you do find that learners go to school are not ready. You do find that learners progress through the grades, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a grade where they are not capable to read, to write, and to count. And that has a major impact, and that is why the President continuously emphasized the importance of getting young children from a younger age into the pre-foundation stage, the preparatory stage, so that they are better equipped. And that requires a commitment from all of us. But it also requires an evaluation of what is being done. Is it indeed having the impact that we want to see? Because the worst crime that you can do to a young child is for a child to move through the phases, and at the end, the child is not equipped to take up his or her rightful place in society. And we'll carry that specific message over to the Basic Education Committee so that they can work with the other committees in the different provinces to monitor and ensure that what the intention of the government is indeed being implemented. And you must please provide your details to us so that we can do a direct follow-up with you. With those few words, I can assure you that that has been raised today, it's not in vain. It's important that we do create these forums so that politicians, and they're not coming from one political party. These young members of parliament come from all the different political parties in parliament. But there's one thing that I respect of them, is that when we deal and discuss youth issues, now and then you find the political voice and colors coming through. But generally they focus on the issues that will advance the youth cause. And if that is the building blocks that we are putting in place, then I can see a bright future for the young people in South Africa, where young voices are articulating what young people are experiencing. I am too old to articulate those voices effectively. I can provide the guidance to them, but they are in a perfect position to see through and to follow through on what is being raised by our people. I want to recognize a few people, if they can come forward as I call them, so that we can just give them a small token of appreciation for their presence here today. Thank you, Riaz. And I want to invite Mr. Cheme from the South African Youth Council, Dr. Mnyende. You see, we're not angry at you. We even give you a present. Mr. Nkam Bako, still here. I think he left. He was one of those who left now. Oh, he is still here. He put his jacket on now. And then also Mr. Shluzi. No, thank you very much, Honorable Governor. Is there anything else from your side that you just want to close for us? Covered? No, thank you very much. Thank you for your participation. We know it's Friday afternoon. You are so disciplined. I must say something, honorable members. Those, you know, on Friday afternoons in Cape Town, after 1 o'clock, we struggle to have people at work because it's as if on a Friday they go home early. Then a Monday comes. Then you must shake them up on a Monday so that their blood can get warm to work again. And today is a day before a public holiday. And the national youth event is taking place tomorrow in Soweto at Stadium. And I would like to see a situation where ordinary people, ordinary young people, just go and attend the event. So, whether it is Friday, whether it's a long weekend, and whether it's a Monday before a long weekend, you have shown to us that your commitment is something that we can count on. Thank you very much.